Welcome back, guys. Today we have Jordyn with us. Jordyn, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Charleston, South Carolina right now.
All right. I see the weather looks beautiful right now.
It is. It's nice and sunny. Good day to be outside and work
Yeah,
on the water.
exactly. So there's my next question. What are you calling? uh, What are you on right now that you're calling from?
I'm on a tugboat right now, sitting on the water. I am currently a steersman apprenticeship mate, so that's basically a captain in training. And I actually just got my mate's license, which is the first level captain mate of towing. And I'm doing my final days of training, just making sure I'm ready. And whenever there's a position open, I'll move into that spot.
Awesome. So why'd you get into this line of that trade?
I've always loved the water. So I actually started out as a diver. After high school, I left, took a normal gap year, went to Thailand, and became a dive master at a resort. Fell in love with it, decided college was not my thing. I was going to be a diver and travel the world for the rest of my life. So I went all around Southeast Asia, ended up in Australia, where I was a cook on a pearl diving vessel. And that was my first introduction to kind of the commercial side of ships and diving and all of that. And I fell in love with it. Came back to the US. I went to dive school in Seattle and got my commercial diving certifications. Did that for about a year. And, being a female in a male dominated industry, it's really hard to solidify a job. So, unfortunately for me in my diving career, the jobs that I was receiving weren't really well paying, or the owners were taking a little more advantage of me than I wanted. So I started to look for other types of jobs to get up my blue collar skills. I wanted to be more valuable in not just diving, but also mechanics and engineering and just more blue collar jobs than just, so I'm a good recreational diver. So I found this job. I started as an entry level deckhand. I worked on deck. We push and pull barges containing different metal products. So if you don't know what a barge is, it's basically like a semi on the water. All we do is we load the barge with different products and we push it around all around the coast and through the waterway and rivers. And so I started off on deck and I've been working my way up to get to the wheelhouse.
Amazing. Like, oh my
Thank you.
God, that's a lot.
It is, yeah. I love it. I honestly thought that this was just a summer job and it was going to be a more like stepping stone to get more hands-on experience. And I just fell in love with it. I love working outside, as you can see, in the nice sun, throwing lines, making up tows, taking care of the vessel. You learn a lot in this job. I mean, we do everything from cooking and cleaning to maintaining the engines.
So how long are you on the boat?
So I'm usually on for 28 days straight, and then we get 14 days off. Every
Okay,
boat's a little bit different, but usually that 2-in-1 schedule.
got you. So where do you live?
I actually just bought my first house in Tennessee.
Okay,
So this company graciously, they pay for all of our travel. And a lot of bigger companies do that as well. So you can live wherever you want and you find a good tugboat company and they'll pay you to fly you to wherever the boat is.
that's awesome. Yeah, because I was wondering like what is your traveling like? So
Yep.
when you're on the
Right.
boat, how far do you travel on the boat? Like where's the
So
farthest you've been?
yeah, so currently I'm on a harbor boat, so it's considered a fleet boat. So we run a certain loop. It's only like 13 miles that we just go back and forth. But just last month I came off of an ocean going boat, and they go all the way from Rhode Island. You go around the Key West, Florida area, through the Gulf of Mexico, and we went up the Mississippi River all the way to St. Paul, Minnesota.
Oh my God, how long did that take you?
So for that trip, we actually started in Norfolk, Virginia, and went all the way around, and it took us about a month. And that is longer than it should, but we had a lot of weather issues, so we had to come into port and get away from some crazy waves out there.
That's wild. That's awesome. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a trip right there.
it definitely gets my travel fix for sure. Of course, I
Yeah.
miss traveling overseas, but this definitely helps.
So when you're yeah, I mean, that doesn't I don't think
Yeah.
that compares from your history of you traveling all over the world to just around the
Yeah.
coast. But so when you're say all right, so if you're coming from Virginia and you're coming down all the way to Florida, do you guys how often do you stop off?
If we don't have to, we won't.
Okay.
So the only times that if we have a long trip like that, the only times that we'll stop is if we need fuel, or because of weather. We try to stock up on groceries and water all beforehand. We can use like companies like Ceto or other crewing companies if we need to change out crew members. But for long trips, we try to really stock up the boat so that we only have to stop when necessary. So we get the job done in like an efficient amount of time.
All right. How many people are usually on your boat? Like
There's
your
four
crew?
people. Yeah, there's four people on the boat. We will have two captains and then two deckhands at all times. And so we do a 6 hours on, 6 hours off rotation schedule. Um, so we're always like working 6 a.m. to noon, and then you'll be off from noon to 6 p.m. And you come back on 6 p.m. until midnight.
Okay. And then they're just all through the night, right?
All through the night, yeah, 24/7. Never stop on a tugboat.
That's kind of a nice schedule though. 6 hours on, 6 hours off. That really breaks it up. I mean, that's pretty decent.
Yeah, it is good because sometimes you can always be working. And so it's
Yeah.
nice to have that break. Definitely, it's different coming home because I'm used to my midday nap. And so I always want to take a little siesta in the middle of the day when I am on my off weeks.
So are you married? Did you say you were married?
I'm not. I have a long term partner, though. We've been together for about 4 years now.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 25.
20, 25?
Yep. I'm going to
You
be
got a lot of
26 in January.
experience already though. That's awesome.
Thank you.
You've done a lot. Traveled. Most people won't ever get to do that. All that
I love it.
traveling,
You
all
know,
that
it was a,
experience.
yeah, it, I really push for people to take a gap year. I mean, I think my biggest growth was when I was 18 and I had like $2,000 to my name and I decided to buy a one-way plane ticket. I was like, okay, I got to make this work. And you just learn that independence of being on your own in a new place where you don't know the language, you don't have a job, and you just have to figure your way. So it was definitely, I definitely recommend it for anybody that's that age. Just a big, yeah, growth lesson.
That's that's also terrifying.
It is terrible. Trust me, I terrified
Dropped
my
in the middle of
parents and my grandparents. Uh,
dropped in the middle of nowhere. You can't talk to anybody. You don't know what you're doing. That's brave. I give it to you. That's amazing.
I took a 2 week uh, like moped tour by myself through Cambodia, and that scared everybody. But it was a lot of fun for sure.
That's awesome. So you like adventure.
I do, yeah. I definitely, I think it's my one of my best qualities, but also my worst is I trust everybody. I think that there is so much good in this world, and even right now with everything happening and everybody's fighting each other, and there's different sides of their views, or
Yep.
this person's right, this person's right. There's always good people in the world, and I think a majority of the people have the same good person values. Everybody's just here to live a good life, and it might just look a little different. And I don't try to judge anybody, especially going to like different countries where there's different cultures, and different just ways of life. But everybody that I met is always so happy and interested, and they want to meet you, especially like a female solo from America. They're like, "Why are you here?" So it's just, I think it's really good. I just like looking at that way of life for sure.
Yeah. No, I fully understand this. Tiffany, my wife, she tells me I have that issue too, where I trust too many people.
Hmm.
And that is because I agree with you. I think there is a lot of good in this world still, and I think that we forgot how to be good to others. I think we forgot that trait of, like, when I see somebody on the side of the road, they're broke down or something, I usually stop.
Hmm.
"Hey, you need me to help change tire or whatever it is, or you need me to tow you over there?" Because I think everybody needs a break in life.
For
But I think we
sure.
also forgot that you can still talk to people face to face. It doesn't
Hmm.
have to be through a screen or anything, and that's what I think it is that you're so focused in your own world now that you don't think about stopping to help somebody, or, even at the grocery store, give somebody, 5 du bucks that they need on their bill or whatever it is. So,
For sure.
yeah,
It's definitely
definitely.
that like team mentality, or that like it takes a village. I truly believe that. Even thinking about different experiences I've had in my life, and I could never experience certain things just by myself, trying to put my head down and do the normal
Yeah,
routine. So yeah, just getting out there and talking to people, like you said, making connections, I think is great.
yeah. So, you were telling me before we recorded that you did have an accident where you did burn yourself. Would you like to tell us about that?
Yeah, so it wasn't work related, but I was in dive school. And so it was bad because I wasn't able to dive for a while. And it was a bunch of our dive friends letting loose on a weekend. We had a bonfire at uh, on a beach, and I just fell in hand first. My boyfriend, my now boyfriend, had to pull me out of the fire, yank me out, and I was shoving my hand in the sand to try to cool it down, and I couldn't stand it. I just started screaming. The pain was just unbearable. It was the worst pain that I ever felt. So we rushed to the hospital, and they patched it all up, and they're like, "You just have to wait. They're like, there's nothing that we can do. Like, we can give you pain meds, but besides for bandaging it up and putting creams on it, it's just a waiting process." So it was my whole palm. I had a big blister. I couldn't touch it. In between my fingers were all blistered, and then all on my wrist was blistered as well. And so I had to take 3 months off of dive school. Couldn't dive because it would contaminate the opened wound.
Yeah.
Um, and thankfully, after some like physical therapy and doing different hand motions, I got full recovery. I don't have any nerve damage or any dexterity loss, which is really good.
You didn't have to do any grafts or anything, did you?
No, I didn't. I still will have a scar always. But yeah, I was very lucky for sure.
That's awesome that you didn't have to do grafts, but yeah, burns, they suck.
Yeah.
They suck. Me having all the scars I have, I
Hmm.
think I think one of the big things that irritates me the most is on social media, somebody will be like, "Oh, I burned my hand and I thought I was being, a sissy about it, and here you are." Well, don't compare yours to mine because everybody has different pain tolerance, and I mean, I don't care if you burn your hand on the stove, it hurts.
It
Burns
hurts.
hurt
Yep.
no matter what. To stick your hand into a fire, yeah, that I bet you didn't even feel it at first, and then it all kicks in real quick, doesn't it?
I didn't even realize it because I was like toking a fire and I fell. And my first initial instinct was to
Your
push
hand got yeah.
myself to get off, which just only further I got deeper into the hot coals and the fire, not
Um,
realizing, yeah, in that moment what was actually happening.
yeah, you got lucky, you got full recovery, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, you didn't get no nerve damage or anything like that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good deal. So, what are you doing today on the boat?
So today I just got off of my 6 hour watch, my morning watch, and we are currently in the harbor waiting on a scrap ship to finish. So is a ship moored up. I can show you if you
Yeah,
want to see. There's a ship moored up right there,
okay.
and we have one of our barges on the side of it. And all of these booms that you see on top of the ship, those are big cranes.
Yeah,
So what those do is they lift different metal products. This is called shred. So it's basically like shredded up pieces of metal. If you think of a paper shredder, they do the same thing to metal. So you put all these pieces of shred into the barge, and we load down the barge, and then we will take the barge upriver to the mill.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely awesome.
So that's what we're doing, back and forth the whole day, but it's fun.
Yeah, I mean your scenery, your that's I think that's an awesome job.
Thanks. It's
Yeah.
really good for me in this apprenticeship position because it's so much back and forth. We have to tie up to the ship, take it off the ship, go upriver, put it into a slip where then they unload it, and then we have to pull out the empty barges. It's a lot of repetition, but that's
Yeah.
perfect for my training. And different weights too. When a barge is loaded, it will move different through the water. Whereas if it's empty and it's really tall, then you have to take in consideration of the weather. Is it going to be windy? If it's super windy, it might push your barge a certain direction. So it's all different learning things that us as captains have to kind of feel for and watch out for.
Now is it just your boat or do you have another boat working with you also to move that barge?
It's just our boat. So one boat
Okay.
pushes a barge. We sometimes push two barges as well. On the ocean going tugs, we don't push barges, we pull barges. So we have this big thing called a hawser, and it's basically like, I have a line next to me. This is one of our normal lines that we tie up barges together. So we use a splice to make the actual eye, and then we put this around our barges. But a hawser line is about double the size of this. And what that does is we attach it to the back of our boat, and we have a 1,000 foot, usually they're 1,000 to 1,500 foot hawser line that attaches to the barge behind us. So that way we can pull it through the ocean.
Crazy. Now, what kind of power is your boat pushing?
This one's only 1,300 horsepower. We have Caterpillar engines, and these are just smaller harbor tugs. They can go up to like 30 horsepower. You know, bigger boats that help position ships. There's different type of tugs. So there's harbor tugs that push barges around rivers. Ocean going tugs. They can be ginormous depending on what they're pulling. And then there's mooring tugs, which those are the ones that like position the ships into their berth at ports.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So different tugs, different sizes, all depends on the type of job that that company does.
That's awesome. We actually
Nice.
have a tugboat shirt
Oh,
for our
nice.
apparel line.
I'll have to grab it for sure.
We'll get you one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, when are you guys going to be hooking up to that other barge?
Whenever it's done, it looks done to me. It does. It's low to the ground. I feel like it's ready. So we'll see. Hopefully soon. I think what my boat is going to do is we're going to be putting on the empty. So we have a tug next to us. You can see what a tugboat looks like.
Okay.
That's what a tugboat looks like. This guy will make up to that loaded barge, and then we will take a empty barge back over to the ship.
Got you. Okay. It's wild.
It
So,
is fun.
you got into the blue collar world. Now, is anybody in your family blue collar?
No one.
Really?
I mean, I have not blue collar in the sense of construction hard labor. I have a firefighter for a dad.
Okay.
Um, but as far as like construction work or really working with your hands, no one. I'm the only one. And it was really wild. I mean, of course, my family's very proud of me, and they love that I'm ambitious, especially being in more of a considered male dominated industry. But they were definitely skeptical at first because I was very free spirited. I was also like a straight A student, so they always wanted the college route for me and doing something that they thought was more financially successful. And it turns out I love working out here. I mean, there's so many walks of life. out here, and different types of people that you meet from way different backgrounds that if I didn't work here, I would have never met them or associated with them. So I really like being a part of like this community and being out here.
Yeah, you are in that small percentage of people because most blue collar men or women, which on our shirts we do have blue collar blood type, and that's because you usually have it somewhere in your family. You know, you're passed down that I don't know how to explain it. Like you're
Yeah, just that grit. You're just always
yeah,
doing, and that's just what the family does.
and you know most men or women that are in the blue collar industries, that's they come from that line of work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, you know, my dad was a carpenter and I want to be in the blue collar. So for you to be like, oh yeah, there's no one in my family, and then you being in this and sticking with it and you found your passion, that's an incredible thing because most people that have never done blue collar that get into these lines of work, they don't make it. They can't cut
Well,
it.
yeah, it's hard. They don't realize how much work they have to put into it. I think what you said is like passion. Like it's weird, but I genuinely like love my job. Like I don't see this as, I have to wake up and I have to go to work and like I don't want to make up these barges. Like I enjoy it. I take, especially with dealing with the boat. Like I said, it's not just about making up the barges. It's a lot about housekeeping. We paint the boat.
Yeah.
We service all the engines. We make sure everything's clean. And I take like great pride in making this like a home. Like I want my boat that I work on to be the best looking one. I want it to run the best. I want it to have like the top notch things. So that's what I try to do.
No, that is the way to do it right there. That is absolutely well said. 100%, that's perfect because I have with multiple guests we've had on, I always like to put it out there to the younger generation that, you know, back in the day when you heard blue collar, it's usually frowned upon. Oh, you know,
Mm-hmm.
those guys, you know, they're alcoholics, you know, drug addicts, felons, whatever you want to say. You know, the money's not there. Well, as the generations now have gone by, you've seen that blue collar, the money is really good.
It is.
And I'm
Yep.
trying to tell the younger generations, don't just chase the money.
Mm-hmm.
You chase the money because, you know, you get this job, you're like, "Oh, it's gonna pay amazing." If it's nothing you take pride in or it's a passion to you, you're gonna end up quitting, and you'll go and chase the next job, and chase the next job, and you'll never be happy. But if you find
Mm-hmm.
a job that you're passionate about, and you like you said, you take pride in it, it feels good to wake up in the morning and go to work or get out of bed for going to work. You know, you want to. You know, I had the same I loved what I did. Now it was a
Mm-hmm.
love-hate, you know, at the end of the day, you're like, "Fuck this, I'm done with this place." I
Yep.
hate it. The next morning, you're like, "I can't wait to get to work." But
Mm-hmm.
that's what you want. You want a job that you're happy to do every day
Mm-hmm.
for those kinda hours too.
For sure.
Especially
Yeah, it's
you that
definitely very demanding.
you know, especially you're stuck on the boat for 28 days. You know, you got
Yep.
into that and you were like, "I don't like this." Well, you're kinda shit out of luck
You know,
sitting
if
on the boat.
yeah, it's very different, and I want to say like I also bring a different aspect to the boat because I am a female and I'm the only one in my company, and so it changes the atmosphere. So at the beginning when I started, it wasn't just like my parents worrying like, oh, you shouldn't go in there because, like you said, like they're all just drug addicts and
Yeah.
felons, and you have a 4.0. Why are you working that job? Anybody could get that job. But it was also the guys had some time that they had to adjust to me because I am a female, and so I'm a little more uppity. I'm a little more like smiley. I'm like, "Good morning, guys," and a lot of these people were not used to that. Were not used to my type of attitude. So it's definitely a big adjustment period. But I mean, I love being the person that hypes up the crew. Let's get them pumped. Let's get like you ready for the day. Let's find something fun. Like let's make this boat work a project that like yeah you want to be proud in and you're excited to do. I think that's very important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very
Yeah,
good. You make such
everybody
good
should
point.
come. Everybody should come. I know. Another thing that we were saying about like that generation, you're trying to tell this new generation not follow the money, and I'm not like the youngest, but definitely there's fewer people my age coming into here, and I see a lot of people my age that come into this industry and they just don't want to work, or they feel like, oh, this is a tugboat, it's a boat, it's basically a boat ride, I'm just going to sit on my phone and do nothing. I'm like,
Yeah,
what are you,
reality check.
yeah, I'm like, what are you doing? This is still work. You have to put in like a little bit of effort. I'm just asking you to like mop the floors, make it look nice, take care of it.
I think the newer generations, the work ethic has gone way down. It is. It's a lot of people, they wanna get the paycheck, but they don't wanna put in the time. But it
Exactly.
don't work
Yeah.
like that, especially in the blue collar world. You're not just gonna collect the paycheck, you have to do the work or you ain't gonna cut it.
Yep.
Get fired on the spot. That's
Mhm.
it. So, what's your advice to any women that would like to join the trade that you're in?
Do it. Like
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, I mean, join as an entry level, see how you feel. We had one other woman that tried to come on here after me, and I tried to mentor her before she came on. The office graciously gave me her number before her first day, so I gave her some tips and like what to pack, what to expect. And she ended up not lasting. She only lasted like a week because she was scared of the heights. So you have to walk across, like it's like a 2 foot walkway on the side of our barges. And when our barges are empty, it's 14 feet into the air. So she was scared walking down that path at night, and just being scared of falling into the water and not being
yeah,
able to get back. But same things I've told her are, a key thing is personality. Like you said, I can't leave. Right now, I'm on my off watch and I'm sitting on the back deck right now. So there is nowhere to go on your off time. There's small quarters. You have a small room um, that you share with somebody else. But when you're off watch, they're on watch. So you always swap rooms.
yeah.
But the main thing is personalities. Don't try to get into fights with people. Be able to not, um, how do I want to say this? You can't, as a female, you can't get offended, is one word.
Can't have
This
thin
is,
skin.
yes, this is blue collar work, blue collar boys. Your typical stereotypes are true in how they talk and conversate. So you can't like get butthurt about little things that are said or done. And I think that's a big thing is you just got to be able to laugh and joke with them. Of course, if it goes too far, then say something.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's a certain line that's like work play, and you have to be able to at least get along with that.
Which I think now I understand women, it's way different on that, yes. For men to be shit talking and joking and stuff, for a woman joining in the blue collar, yeah, it is definitely gonna be something you're not used to, and like you said, you
Hmm.
cannot get offended, but as in the younger guys too, same thing. If you're in these jobs, you cannot take everything to heart.
Yeah,
You know, we had a saying and it was leave your feelings at the front gate, because once you're on the property and you're working, don't don't get upset over what he said, she said, or whatever. Do your job. Everybody's
yep,
gonna shit talk and everybody's having a good time doing it. You just have to have fun with it. You have to have somewhat of a sense of humor.
exactly. And with that emotion too, we get a lot of younger guys with girlfriends who are like in college, and if they're 18 or 19, and they're blowing up their phone every 10 minutes, asking where are they, what are they doing, or then they get homesick because they're away for so long, and you can tell when that's happening. Or yeah, they're just always texting. So you just gotta leave that all. Like, don't worry about stuff. Not take anything like hard.
Now, what does your boyfriend do for work?
He is a commercial diver. So I
Okay.
actually met him in dive school, and we stuck it through. Yeah, so he stayed with it. He's working a job in Maine right now, building submarine dry docks. So he's doing underwater welding and different type of submersion. Yeah, he
I
loves
got
it.
I gotta get him on the podcast too.
Yeah, he has a great career. Like he worked in potable water, climbing 250-foot water towers, and then he had to dive into them and clean them. And then he worked in the sewer systems in Atlanta, so he would clean all of the shit tanks and like all the filters that would get clogged just with gunk. He would have to go down there and clean them.
You're gonna have to talk him into coming on the podcast. I would love to hear some of those stories.
I will. I will.
So with him being gone, how often do you guys see each other?
Every two or like every month, we see each other for 2 weeks. So thankfully, his job, they're working constantly up there, and he's just staying in a hotel while he's working. And whenever I'm off, they'll fly him home.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they're super flexible with my schedule and working around me in the boat.
That's wicked awesome because I mean,
Yeah.
for his company to help and work with you, it's good company.
Yeah, it's super good. We've talked about it like in the future. Obviously, we've been together for 4 years. We do plan on getting married eventually, and hopefully having kids and starting a family. So we are realistic that we probably can't sustain this with a family. But we've talked about different opportunities where if we move to a port city, there's tugboat companies that you can just work day work, and you work like a normal 8 to 5 job, and you can come home every night. And he can work in that city harbor as well, doing the dive work. So there's definitely opportunities and ways around it. But right now, I'm 25, here to make some money, start growing that career, working well, and just getting experience.
Yeah, I mean, you already have a bunch of notches under your belt, so I think
Thank
you're
you.
I think you're good on that deal. But yeah, keep doing you. You're crushing it.
Thanks.
Crushing it. So, one more time, do you have any advice for any of the younger generation or the women that would like to come into the trades?
Just don't give up. As hard as it can be and as stressful, and if you feel, oh, I'm too weak and I can't lift this or I can't do it, there's always a mechanical advantage. There's always a way around it. Usually, when you get the strong men out here, they're like, I'm just going to push through, and they get overworked and tired. There's always a way to get stuff done. It's the same thing with tugboats. If we get a bad job that people don't know how we're going to make it happen, we'll figure it out. We got four like tough guys on here that if we put our heads together and act like a team, it'll all get done.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. It was an honor to have you on.
Thank you. Thanks
You
for
are
having me.
full of knowledge. Definitely want
Thank
to
you.
get
I
your
try to
boyfriend on
be,
here. Want to hear from him too. But
for sure.
I appreciate you accepting our offer to come on here, and it was awesome talking to you.
Thank you. It was great talking to you as well.
All right, we'll definitely keep in touch. I'm gonna get you a shirt, and
Love it.
yeah, you have a great day and be safe.
All right. See you later.
Have a good one.